are the top stories. President Tinubu departs Nairobi after AU meeting. 10th National Assembly to prioritize education. Reps screen service chiefs. And on the foreign scene, Russia officially pulls out of Ukraine grain deal. And in the world of sport, Chelsea consider move for Maguire. And now the news in detail. President Bola Tinubu has departed Nairobi, the Kenyan capital, after participating in the 5th mid-year coordination meeting of the African Union. The Nigerian leader left Abuja on Saturday for the meeting with other leaders in the continent and is expected back in the country on Monday. At the AU meeting, the president said Africa cannot attain integration and prosperity while Africans languish in pain and anguish. He reaffirmed Africa's unity and strength while strongly rejecting the notion of a new scramble for the continent. Also, Tinubu called on African leaders to respect democracy, rule of law, and ensure political stability. Still talking more stories, the President of the Senate, Senator Godswill Akpabio, says the 10th Assembly will pass quality legislation that will raise the standard of education in the country. Akpabio made the pledge during the 10th National Institute for Legislative and Democratic Studies, University of Benin, UNIBEN, matriculation ceremony for the postgraduate programs in Abuja today. This is evident with the recently assented Student Loan Act by President Bola Tinubu to ensure access to education for all. Therefore, the 10th Assembly will pass quality legislation, which its implementation will raise the standard of education service delivery in Nigeria. Represented by the Deputy Senate President, Senator Jibrin Barau, Akpabio implored the matriculating students to see the opportunity of their admission as a great privilege, as the knowledge they will acquire cannot be found in conventional universities. He said that the programs would offer the matriculates the needed knowledge to contribute to the nation's democracy and national development. Also speaking, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Tajuddin Abbas, said the imperatives of research, training and education in fostering a strong, viral and vibrant democracy could not be overemphasized. And still on matters that concern the House of Reps, the House of Representatives has commenced the screening of the service chiefs appointed by President Bola Tinubu. House Ad Hoc Committee on Screening of Service Chief Nominees began with screening the Chief of Defense Staff, Major General Christopher Musa, and the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Taurid Lagbaja. The chairman of the ad hoc committee, Babajimi Benson, said the exercise was a necessary constitutional provision in the process of institutionalizing and legitimizing the appointment of persons for the positions of service chiefs for the armed forces of the country. Benson stated that the House takes the role seriously and always do it meticulously in accordance with its extant rules. The committee chairman observed that new security threats are emerging across the globe, where wars are not only fought on the land, sea and air, but also in the cyberspace. He stressed the need for Nigeria to harness the potential of having a defense space force like in the United States of America. Benson also emphasized the need for a defense space force to adequately handle potential threats from the cyberspace and provide intelligence support to other services. The committee chairman urged them to cooperate with the National Assembly while performing their constitutional duties of ensuring a peaceful, secure, and prosperous country for all Nigerians. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, FAAN, has apologized for the hitches suffered over the weekend by airline operators with the diversion of flights to Lagos from Kano due to unserviceable runway lighting. In a statement, Director of Public Affairs and Consumer Protection, Abdullahi Yakubu Funtua, said the airfield maintenance team of FAN observed that the runway lighting would not come on after the scheduled daily maintenance work of replacing old and weak airfield cables with new ones. Explaining further, he said the maintenance team immediately initiated fault-finding procedures along the cable routes to identify the problem and restored power to the airfield lighting circuit. According to Yakubu Funtua, the fault was yet to be isolated and power supply to the runway could not be restored, leaving the runway in total blackout, which affected night operation with arriving flights diverted to alternate airports. He noted that after all efforts to restore power supply to the runway failed, the operations department initiated a NOTAM action for the closure of runway 0624 between 11 p.m. July 15 to 7 a.m. of July 16. The Deputy National Chairman, Senator Abubakar Yari, has confirmed the resignation of Senator Abdullahi Adamu and Senator Iyola Omishore, the National Secretary. This was announced today after the National Working Committee meeting held at the All Progressives Congress Party Secretariat by the now acting chairman, Senator Abubakar Yari, who also confirmed Festus Fuenter, the Deputy National Secretary, as the new National Secretary.
Subsequently, the Deputy National Secretary, Barrister Festus Fuenter, will now assume the office of the Acting National Secretary of the All Progressives Congress. And with this recent development in the change of leadership, I'd like to inform everybody here the proposed National Caucus meeting slated for Tuesday, the 18th, July 2023, and the National Executive Committee meeting of the All Progressive Congress slated for Wednesday, 19th July 2023, and hereby being postponed. And this postponement, a new date will be communicated in the near future.
The APC NWC meeting was presided over by the APC Deputy National Chairman, North, Abubakar Yari. It was reported that Senator Omishore came to the Secretariat and left after addressing the press that he was going to see Senator Abdullahi Adamu, who was absent at the NEC meeting, as to his reason for his being absent. In March 2022, Adamu emerged as APC National Chairman about 2 years after the dissolution of the Adams Oshomole-led National Working Committee was dissolved. Adamu's ordeal began during the build-up to the APC presidential primary in June 2022, when he announced the then Senate President Ahmad Lawan as the party's consensus candidate. The announcement was, however, strongly rejected by a league of then northern governors, including Nasir El-Rufai and Abdullahi Ganduje, who preferred former Lagos State Governor Bola Tinubu. The federal government has confirmed this first case of anthrax in Nigeria, stating that the disease was detected in a farm in Niger State. It was reported that the federal government alerted the general public to the outbreak of anthrax disease in some neighboring countries within the West African sub-region and advised Nigerians to desist from the consumption of hides, otherwise known as pomo, at the moment. The federal government had specifically stated that the disease was widespread in northern Ghana, bordering Burkina Faso and Togo, as it also promised to keep Nigerians updated on development about the disease. In a statement issued in Abuja today, the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development stated that it was deeply concerned to announce the confirmation of an anthrax case in Niger State, Nigeria. The case was in a multi-species animal farm comprising of cattle, sheep, and goats located at Gajiri along Abuja-Kaduna Expressway, Suleja local government area, Niger State, where some of the animals had symptoms including oozing of blood from their body openings, anus, nose, eyes and ears. You are listening to the World News at 6 and Voice of the People 96.1 FM. After the break, Foreign Stories.
Radio is a great way to connect with the community.
This is the number one station.
Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
Others may drop the mic. I talk into it. If you're in need of a voice, well, I've got one.
Voice of the People 96.1 FM.
Welcome back and thank you for staying with us. And now let's talk stories from the foreign scene. Russia has notified the UN, Turkey, and Ukraine that it will not renew a crucial deal that allowed Ukraine to export grain through the Black Sea. Kremlin spokesperson Dmitry Peskov said the agreement had reached an end. The deal let cargo ships pass through the Black Sea from the ports of Odessa, Kornomorsk, and Yuzhny. But Moscow said it would return to the agreement if its conditions were met. Russian President Vladimir Putin had long complained that parts of the deal allowing the export of Russian food and fertilizers had not been honored. In particular, he said grain had not been supplied to poorer countries, which was a condition of the agreement. Russia also repeatedly complained that Western sanctions were restricting its own agricultural exports. But Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan told journalists he believed that Putin wants to continue the agreement and that they would discuss the renewal of the deal when they meet in person next month. Still from the foreign scene, Tunisia and the EU, that is the European Union, have signed a deal to tackle irregular migration, meaning those moving in breach of rules. Tunisia has become the main departure point for migrants trying to cross the Mediterranean to Europe. The EU has been struggling to cope with 72,000 migrants making the journey this year alone, mostly to Italy. The deal includes $118 million to stop smuggling, strengthen borders, and return migrants. In recent months, black migrants in Tunisia have faced violent attacks due to an increasingly hostile environment. Tunisia's President Kais Saied has accused migrants of partaking in a plot to change the country's demographic profile, blaming traitors who are working for foreign countries. According to reports, Tunisia is suffering an economic crisis, and increasing numbers of Tunisians are also trying to leave the country to go to Europe. And now let's talk sports news. Chelsea are considering a move for Harry Maguire, with the defender now set to depart Manchester United this summer. Maguire was intent on fighting for his place at Old Trafford after falling down the pecking order under Erik ten Hag last season. However, ahead of the new Premier League campaign, Ten Hag has now stripped Maguire of the United captaincy. The Sun reported that Maguire is angry, shocked and upset following his meeting with Ten Hag, in which he told the 30-year-old that he was no longer United's captain. The report claims that Maguire is ready to leave United this summer, and Chelsea are among the clubs interested alongside West Ham, Tottenham and Newcastle United. Reacting to his removal as United captain, Maguire expressed his disappointment. And now to wrap up, here are the top stories again. President Tinubu departs Nairobi after AU meeting. 10th National Assembly to prioritize education. We told you rep screen service chiefs. And on the foreign scene, Russia officially pulls out of Ukraine grain deal. And in the world of sports, Chelsea consider move for Maguire. And that is a wrap on the World News at 6. The news was edited and compiled by Alice Ennis and produced